Guys, it's Mark again from Christ-Centered Fitness. Apologize for posting my video a little bit late today. Things got a little chaotic, but better late than never. In any case, today I want to talk to you quickly about social pressure to eat, maybe in a way that you would not like to eat when you're trying to make dietary changes. But before I really get into that, one thing I really want to address is that often the way we eat has been so ingrained, and the people around us have become so accustomed to it, that ultimately when we decide to make a change to our life, we're also making them make changes to their lives. And obviously, we have to focus primarily on what we consume, and we control what goes into our bodies. But we do have to be attentive to the fact that if it affects someone else's life, they're going to have feelings associated with that. And we have to respect those and deal with them accordingly. If we just kind of shrug them off as though their feelings don't matter, then we're going to have a harder time dealing with that. And with regards to what you're eating, remember those patterns could have been entrenched for years, and you've set a precedent. And the precedent you set is what people come to expect. So when you hang out with your spouse, if you've become accustomed to going out 3 or 4 nights a week for various dinners, and that's something that you've decided you're going to decrease or minimize in order to try and eat healthier or prepare foods at home, then there's going to be some kind of a bridge that you're going to need to cross with your spouse. And similarly, if you have friends that you get together with, and every time you get together, you eat mass quantities of pizza and eat a lot of chips and pretzels and whatever else, and you consume large quantities of food with them, that's what they've come to expect, and that's the precedent that you have set. So you have to take the responsibility for having done that. So a practical way to sort of head this off at the pass, this social pressure, is of course to talk to the people that are important to you, like your spouse and very close friends, and say, listen, I understand that I've set a precedent in this way by having eaten in a certain way throughout the years. I'm hoping to make a lasting change at this point in my life. I want to be a better steward of my physical body, and I'm going to hope that you'll be on my side to help me accomplish this. I understand it might require some change on your behalf, but I'm hoping that maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle and find a way that we can make this work for both of us. And just saying that up front really can mitigate some of the problems that you're going to encounter, or acknowledge that maybe there's going to be problems, but that you're willing to discuss and address them. Now, if somebody really finds it difficult to receive what you're saying to them, sometimes it's just a matter of making it clear that what you've said is actually going to follow through in action. In terms of, again, sometimes you just really need to reset that precedent through your actions as opposed to just saying it. And one specific incident I remember really well in my life is I went over to a friend's house, and he said to me, "Do you want to have a beer?" And he said, "I'm going to have a beer. Do you want to have a beer?" And I said, "No, thanks. I don't want to have a beer." And he continued to take 2 beers out of the fridge, opened both, put one in front of me, and said, "I want to drink this by myself." And had I decided to drink a beer with my friend, which really, in the greater context, maybe might not be a huge deal, had I decided to do that, I would have continued the precedent that I might have set at another time. So in order to set a new precedent, I would have to say, you know what, I really did mean what I said when I said I didn't want one, and now I'm going to have to decline this. And I left that beer sitting open on the table. Now, eventually, I think he drank it, or whatever the case was. But if you want to guess, the number of times that ever happened again was 0. And the reason for that is because maybe in the first instance, I might have been considered rude for doing that. But at the end of the day, it was really him that was being rude and disrespecting my wishes, if we're getting technical. But at the end of the day, that one time of standing by what it was that I said that I was going to do was enough to begin to set a new precedent, so that if I say yes, then bring something. If I say no, then don't. And that's really often what it comes down to. And if there are really people that you're hanging around with that are super resistant to that, again, it might be the point in your life where you're going to need to find more friends who have a similar mindset. That isn't to say that you're going to cut off your old friends, but it does mean that you do also need to find more friends who are of a similar mindset, who you can spend time with without feeling that social pressure. So I hopefully that helps you. Number one, always communicate, accept the responsibility for having set the precedent in the first place, and let them know that you're hoping to change it and willing to discuss a means to make it work for all of you. Secondly, follow through on what you say you're going to do to set that example and to begin to reset that precedent so people know that when you say something, you're going to follow through. I hope that helps you. If you have any more questions, of course, post them up below. In the meantime, I appreciate you guys. Have a great night.